All right. Here we go. Algebra 1, Chapter 2, Lesson 2, Solving One-Step Equations. This is nothing new. This is a review. So, here we go. Remember, solving an equation is kind of like scales. Whatever you do on one side of the equation, you have to do on the other side of the equation. So, it's just like scales. If you take something off one side, you have to take the same thing off the other, or whatever you do to one side, you have to do the same thing to the other. So, here we have Mr. Furball. We want to find out how much does Mr. Furball weigh? Well, there's Mr. Furball and 4 units on this side. So if I round off one side as I take off the other side, and then those scales can be balanced again. So the resulting is we had Mr. Furball plus 4 was equal to 15. We took 4 off each side. Mr. Furball weighs 11 units. What about these bears? How do we split those up? I can't subtract a bear from this side because there's no bear. Well, I can also divide. I can group these into 2 sections. I have 2 bears, so I can group these into 2 different sections. So if I divide this side by 2, I have to divide this side by 2, or into 2 groups. Then I get 1 bear gets 2 honey jars. So, our properties of equality, we have the addition property of equality. That says you can add the same value on each side of the equation, and the resulting equivalent equation is also true. So if I have 6 equals 6, 6 plus 3 equals 6 plus 3. I added the same value on each side. Same thing goes for subtraction. You can subtract the same value on each side of the equation, and the resulting equivalent equation is also true. Guess what? It works for multiplication too. You can multiply by the same value on each side, and you can also divide by the same value on each side of the equation. So here we have the properties of equality: addition property of equality, subtraction property of equality, multiplication property of equality, and division property of equality. So when we're solving equations, we want to get the variable by itself. Doing that, the process is called isolating the variable. So we get it by itself. To isolate the variable just means get it by itself. There's an inverse or opposite operation. Every operation has an inverse or opposite, which undoes it. So if there's an addition, to undo it, I do subtraction. If there's multiplication, to undo it, I do division. The same way it goes backwards. If it's division, I multiply. If it's subtraction, I add. So let's look at this example right here. There's the variable. I want to isolate it. I want to get this by itself. So put a circle around that variable. It says minus 22, so we are going to add 22 to each side. That cancels this out. I carry down the C, and over here I get 76. In this case, this is an addition. Now careful, the reason I am going to subtract 63 is not because of this addition here, but because the 63 is positive. This plus or positive sign goes with the M. So I'm going to subtract 63 from each side of the equation. Very important. Where is the equal sign? What you do on one side of it, you have to do on the other side. I can't subtract 63 twice on one side. Very important. This cancels out. M carries down. And then 79 minus 63 is equal to 16. Now fractions. Everybody loves fractions. So let's look at these. Here's my variable. I want to get that by itself. What's happening between the fraction and the variable? This is a multiplication. It says 2/3 of q, or 2/3 times q. To get rid of the fraction, I need to divide by 2/3. Now how do we divide by a fraction? Remember, keep it, change it, flip it. KCF. Keep it, change it to multiplication, and flip it. So we're going to divide by 2/3. So that means I'm going to multiply by 3/2. Flip it. That cancels the 3 out, 2 cancels the 2 out. So multiply this side by the same value. Over here, these cancel out, and I'm left with Q equals. Here we have 1 times 3 is 3, and 2 times 2 is 4. There we go. And then finally here we have a multiplication between r and -3. I need to divide by -3. Please pay attention to the negatives. A positive divided by a negative gives me a negative as an answer. Then I have -13 equals r. All right, word problems. Everybody loves word problems. So I want to set up writing equations. We did that yesterday. So I want to set up an equation here. A group of 13 to 15-year-old girls surveyed. 225, or about 9/20, said they talk on the phone while they watch television. So about how many girls were surveyed? So let's set this up. We have 9/20 of the girls surveyed. Okay, 9/20, and I'll use G here. 9/20 G is equal to 225. So 225 girls were surveyed, which was 9/20. I want to get rid of the fraction. Remember, you multiply to get rid of the fraction, to divide by it. I'm going to multiply by its reciprocal times 20/9. That's how I can cancel out. So I have to do the same thing over here. Over 9. Cancel this out, cancel this out. Please don't go to decimals. Don't go to decimals. Any multiple of a 3 is going to be a repeating decimal. It's much easier than that. Just do 225 times 20, multiply by the top, divide by the bottom. Times 20 gives me 45,000, divided by 9 gives me 500. If you want to see that here, times 20, 45,000. Sorry, not 45,000, 4,500. Over 9. There we go. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, remember to like it's your business and subscribe to the Mastermind channel.